Greetings, YouTube. I woke up to a slew of messages with screenshots about Kabam Mike from a forum post thread that I've spent, I don't know, the last 15 minutes kind of reading comments and checking through. Shout out Spidey, Sergeant Bourne, everybody who sent me these messages to look over. Yesterday, as many of you know, the community it was like a vent day. We talked about burnout and problems with the game, not just the Act 7 beta, which, keyword beta, it's still being tested. Nothing has actually hit the game live and won't, I'm sure, for several months. But, people kind of felt like it was a good idea to do that, to talk about some of the frustrations with Act 6 as well, and with the RNG of crystals. And so this thread is kind of a service to the community to just bring up issues that people feel like have caused a lot of great players to leave or sell their accounts, or if nothing else, just not feel as excited about a game that they still play every day and still want to love and still love. It's kind of like one of those relationships where you're still in it and you've been in it for years, and the nostalgia of how it was at the beginning keeps you committed, but you look at your partner and they barely remind you of the person that you fell in love with. That's how I interpret some of these comments. And so Kabam Mike did respond at length, and very much at length, to what a lot of summoners posted. Now, he did remind everybody to keep your conversation civil, and he attacks on each other if all comments will be deleted. Open forum disagreements will occur, but that doesn't give license to break the forum rules. As for the subject at hand, everybody is welcome to their own opinions, and there's a lot of great feedback in that video and in your responses. Building new content in this game is not easy, nor is it quick. We're always looking at what you guys have to say, and where possible, we plan it into our roadmaps down the line. We planned on giving you guys a glimpse of what's on the horizon in a week or two, but I can see about moving that up. We're always working to come up with new and interesting things for you all to do in game and deliver a constant stream of new content every month. We're also always looking at ways we can improve the existing content for everybody. We've worked on a bunch of quality of life stuff, some of which has already come out and some of which is coming pretty soon. Battle group assignments at last. I also want to say that there's two issues here at hand. There's new and interesting content, but there's also just landing a better chance to land the champions that you need for your roster to complete said content. I mean, you can have new and exciting content with the right champions, but if you don't have the right champions and you don't have awakening gems, you don't have signature stones, then it almost becomes torture, because if you have those champions, you can complete the content and get awesome rewards and have fun, but you're stuck. So, his post about new content, that answers the part of the problem of maybe repetitive boredom when it comes to content, but it doesn't answer the problem of RNG at all. Less than a month ago, we launched Incursions, one of the craziest, most ambitious projects that we'd ever undertaken. That took 8 to 10 months from concept to release, depending on when we decide to start on that concept phase is. Now, I want to say that Incursions is overall really fun. I think it certainly is the most fun when you can actually start the month, like today, when it resets, with all of the different rewards. Because once you complete the month's worth, you get, at least for the 7th tier, Zone 7, you get 3,000 incursion reward every couple days, but that's not that much. As for the subject at hand, everybody, okay, so we have this message, and then let's scroll up. All right. Alliance Quest and Alliance War are two very important parts of this game. We know there are a lot of opinions about them, and we sure as hell are not ignoring them. Wow. We just don't have anything to say on them at this time. You'll see an update to Alliance Quest in the next couple of months, and that includes an update to rewards, Alliance Quest modifiers, and mini-bosses. Alliance War will see a small refresh soon as well, but that doesn't mean we're not already thinking about our next big change. Just because we haven't made the specific change you want doesn't mean that we haven't discussed it or looked at the actual root cause. What the issue looks like on the surface isn't always what it is at the root. There's also so many of you with different priorities and concerns. Just look through this thread and see the spectrum of different ideas and asks. Many of them contradict each other. So when you say that, you're just dismissing your community because you're saying it's irrelevant because you all want different things, so therefore none of the things you want are valid. That is a false argument for sure. Many have no appeal to somebody else. That's also quite a blanket statement. Even the video that was posted and the OP's comments are very different. Again, we welcome the feedback and we're going to discuss it. In fact, I'm going to make sure we discuss this all today. I probably won't have anything to come back with, but I can promise that I will make these points known. It's really quite amazing to me, the language that was used. And then let's go back to this message. The reaction to what that was great. It's motivated to look around for other areas of improvement, but identifying what we want to do and then going through an ideation period, planning, building, testing takes a lot of time. It also takes a specific set of skills. We can't ask one of our designers to build a new game mode no less than we could ask a member of the community team to model and texture a new champion. Wish I could move faster, but we can't. It's physically impossible and even more difficult given the current situation. I see a lot of conversations about Book 2, Act 1, Chapter 7, and one of our quest designers will be making a post for our beta testers on the feedback so far in a day or two, but Act 7 has already seen changes made to it. While it's still in beta testing, we've reduced the attack boost twice, and that's only to address one pain point. We know there are others, and we appreciate all of the constructive feedback that we've received. The point of a beta test is to identify these pain points before the content is live in a test environment so that we can improve the final product and have it in its best shape possible. Okay, so that makes sense. Here's, my biggest complaint about this response is especially in terms of the majority of comments I've seen when it talks about RNG. They don't want to address those points because Marvel Contest of Champions is what I often call Marvel Casino of Champions. It is a gamble, only it doesn't have the same tax threshold or tax security that actual gambling does. Keep in mind, if you don't know this, you can write off gambling losses. If you go to a casino and you spend $1,200 because you want to play a certain slot machine and get what you hope to be a great win or a great bonus, and you don't get it, you can at least keep track of your losses. You can at least put that on your player's card, and you can have that information for some level of taxable security to a certain degree. If you spend $1,200 on Cavalier crystals and you don't get a single good 6-star, you can't tell the federal government that. They're going to say, well, you shouldn't have bought $1,200 worth of purchases. I don't know what to tell you. So it's gambling in that the odds are pretty much the same as a slot machine, but it's not looked at as a casino. And that's why Congress, for over a year now, has been debating the legality of loot box games. And this is not just something that's been debated in the United States, but all over the world. Even if they create new amazing content, even if they up the rewards of Alliance Quest and Alliance War, etc., I still think that the RNG gamble, particularly with the 6-star crystal, which has so many average to trash champions, and it's getting new ones in less than a month when the featured crystal champions go into the basic. That is, if you're talking about the future of the game, and you're talking about how 6 stars are quote-unquote the future, that's still the biggest problem. And, my account is all luck when it comes to 6 stars. And it sucks. I want to give my gold away, and to a certain extent, I want to give my 6 stars away. I want to give people more of an incentive to play the game. And it's dumb that, to no credit of my own or no fault of people who have bad RNG luck on the 6-star basic crystal especially, that somebody like me can progress a lot faster than them, even if you have the same or better skill level than I do, just because you had bad gambling luck on crystals. And so, yeah, there has to be a better way. And I still think, talking about a video I put out yesterday, I still think the Nexus crystal needs to be more common and needs to be available for purchase with crystal shards. But Kabam knows that as long as they hold out on doing that, and they sell it on specific holidays where they make a bunch of money, then they'll be able to milk people more. But what happens if your summoners get so burnt out on the game that they don't stay loyal to your company to make it to said holiday to throw their money at you? And also what happens if, I don't know, the world's in a pandemic and suddenly people can't spend $500 on a holiday when they could before because they're out of a job and they're just trying to feed their family and they're trying to build up their savings, because even if they're doing okay, there are reports of the virus coming back for a second wave in which they could really lose their jobs, so it's not like they have as much disposable income to throw at a mobile game. So all those things said, I still think when Kabam Mike responds in this way, he just feels tone deaf, but also kind of has that almost Napoleon complex where you feel like you're above everybody in terms of knowledge and in terms of understanding. And so you just get very defensive and very threatened by comments. And, I would say most of the comments I read on this forum post thread, and I'll post the thread for you to decide yourself, are civil, and they create valid points. It's not like Seaton put out this video that was just full of profanity and attacks and, low-hanging fruit. I think he was making really solid points, and even though the post starts out by addressing some of that, it also just kind of puts down members of the community in the process. And that's really unfortunate, because you don't keep a community together by putting people down and by using people's comments to basically negate or discredit valid arguments and valid complaints about the state of the game. So, Kabam Mike, I'm sure you're also very upset. I know that you don't feel like the community appreciates Kabam enough. And, Kabam in 2020 has made a lot of positive strides. I've talked in length about how great the Glory Store changes are, about how Incursions has really improved the old Dungeons model. Obviously, that doesn't mean, though, that you just stop talking about the problems, too. You've got to keep it 100. You've got to talk about the good. You've got to talk about the bad. I'm not going to give every offer that pops in the game an F, and I'm not going to give every offer that pops in the game an A. You've got to take each offer individually for what it is, and the same thing goes true with problems. But if you can't talk about them, and if you feel like you have to walk on eggshells just to discuss them, then the health and the environment of the communication of the game is beyond broken. So, end of rant. Kabam Mike, I guess you addressed some of this, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like this reply did more harm than good, and that might factor into the title of this video. Thanks again to Spidey and Sergeant Bourne, everybody else that passed these on to me. I appreciate it. And if you want to read all the posts and the threads, the link will be pinned in the comments below. Have a good day, YouTube. Thanks for watching.